Hi everybody. Yeah, I get the impression people are pissed off with me. Certain people are pissed off with me at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, bewildered ape. Okay. I kind of get that this thing was a joke. But if there was one word I could use to describe this whole situation, it would be confused. I'm just a little bit confused about what's gone on. I just wanted to address this first here. It's I think you're being a bit unfair here, trying to pin this on me, because I've not said anything about. I've not raised any issue with you using the word bitch. I don't personally. I agree with extremely boring about this. I don't think that we should hold one member of society accountable for doing something that pretty much every member of society does every day. I wouldn't personally consider using a word like bitch I wouldn't judge someone as harshly for using it as I might judge someone for using a word like the N-word, because I think society generally on the issue of the N-word has moved a lot further forward than it has with a word like bitch. I think generally it's safe to assume most people know they probably shouldn't say a word like the N-word, and therefore we might judge someone more harshly if they use it. But a word like bitch, I think, is very commonplace. You hear men say it, you hear women say it. So I don't think we should judge one person, one member of society, for doing something which almost everyone in society does. I don't use the word bitch, not in that context anyway, anymore. Excuse me. Not since I started taking an interest in this sort of thing. But yeah, I don't think that's not my issue. I was just kind of disturbed by the threatening comment, really. I just found that kind of unsettling. I mean, I get that it was supposed to be a joke, but it took like a good day or two for me to understand the joke, and I think that could just be me being stupid. It could just be I'm such an idiot I can't understand this kind of humour, because it's for the super intellectual type people. But I don't know, I mean, given there were a few people who didn't understand it, I think maybe it's just that people should just be aware that this sort of esoteric kind of private humour might not work so well in public. Because I was using an analogy recently that I was saying to people that whenever you point out to an MRA that Paul Elam's article about Bash a Violent Bitch Month, where he seems to get into very graphic detail about how he'd like to beat up a woman, if you ever mention this to MRAs, they will always say, you've taken it out of context, which is everyone's favourite buzzword at the moment, or buzz phrase at the moment. And they explain to you that they put it into context. They say this was a response to an article by Jezebel. And if you go and look at the article by Jezebel, that's also a horrible article. But then Jezebel is a horrible site. Racist. It's a racist site that also makes excuses for sexual abuse and so on. So the fact that they're a kind of man-hating site shouldn't surprise anyone. But then you see, if you tell people that, fans of Jezebel will tell you, no, you've got to understand the context of that. So to understand the context of Paul Elam's article, we've then got to read the Jezebel article, but then we've got to understand the Jezebel article in context, so we've got to backtrack, and there's supposedly, if we keep going on this quest, eventually we will find the ultimate context. And once we've found this ultimate context, we'll just understand everything. We'll understand everyone perfectly, because we'll have the ultimate context in which everything can be understood. I just find, am I the only one who thinks that maybe rather than writing really esoteric stuff that only a small number of people could possibly understand, and then exposing it to the general public at large, and then spending absolutely days, weeks, months, years trying to explain to people the context that they don't understand of it, wouldn't it just be more sensible? Wouldn't it be more like, economical to just put it into a context people can understand in the first place? Wouldn't it be better to just make stuff that people could understand straight off. I don't know. I just find it really weird that if people have got a message they want to communicate to the world, why they would make it difficult for the world to understand it. Why would they only put it in a way that people who already understand it are going to understand it. Just seems a bit odd. But yeah. But I do know Bewildered Ape has apologized. I should, which is cool. But I should cite Poe's law here. And that is the law that says, without a clear indication of the author's intent, it is difficult or impossible to tell the difference between an expression of sincere extremism and a parody of extremism. But I can't be too harsh, I don't think, though, to Bewildered Ape here, because this is something I posted about a year ago. And by the way, this took ages to find. I had to trawl through, because this is from the old comment system, before the Google Plus comment system. I had to trawl through so much neo-Nazi garbage to find this. It was sort of entertaining in a way, but yeah, so this woman says, "Oh dear, another student brainwashed into being politically correct. If only his father could see this, surely he would jump into the time machine and squirt on his mum's tits instead." Sounds like a charming person. And my reply, of course, is, "What makes you think I'm politically correct, you sandwich-making baby factory?" Well, but then I do say, more seriously, thank you for mistaking me for a student. As someone who's almost 32, I find that rather flattering. So I think I do actually explain that I was joking with my first sentence. This complete nitwit here doesn't get that. And yeah, what does he say? He's like, "The sandwich-making baby factory comment, you make a video slating a person for pointing out flaws with a religion and being racist towards Islam, blah, blah, blah. And you go and sexist, derogatory, racist words at this woman. And he thinks I'm a racist because he doesn't understand the difference between racism and classism, even though I haven't said anything classist." And I do have to explain to this guy this is a joke, because he's a bit of an idiot. Now, I probably wouldn't post something like this now. This was like quite a while ago, and yeah, I've always been worried people might find this comment and not understand the context. Although I think most people I know are sensible enough to realise it's a joke, and the point I'm making, which I say at the end, is I'm simply trying to point out that we all appreciate a little political correctness, so it's sensible to afford it to others. And that I thought was the point that came across, but then I'm arguing with these like EDL, UKIP type people, so yeah, not exactly the sharpest tools in the box. So I can't really judge Bewildered Ape too harshly, but I would say I've just found this whole thing really odd. And I've got to be honest, I probably, if I'd have read those things, I probably would have responded in a similar manner to people like Xanastrad and Foxy Jezebel and Skeptical Heretic and some of the other people, and the True Booker was another one. I probably would have responded in a similar manner. So I'm just, yeah, a little bit confused by this whole situation. I don't want to ostracize anyone, though, from a community. I'm not quite clear who these people are who supposedly have been ostracized in the past. I'm just not really clear who those people are. No one seems to want to be willing to actually say who they were, so it's a bit difficult to know what's going on there. Yeah, regarding this sort of perhaps hypocrisy regarding Hannibal and him threatening Thunderfoot with violence, I do get what you mean, but what I would say here is that Hannibal said he wanted to hit Thunderfoot. I think you said he was going to hit Thunderfoot because Thunderfoot had encouraged a load of his subscribers to dogpile onto a friend of his who is a rape victim, which Thunderfoot conveniently doesn't mention in his video response. In fact, he tries to frame it as though Hannibal is angry because he's an Anita Sarkeesian fan, which is not the case. But that's Thunderfoot for you. Whereas I don't think this thing with you and Karen Strawn is quite the same as that. I mean, she's a horrible person, but I don't think she's quite provoked that kind of... This is a sort of like knee-jerk reaction, isn't it? Like, you know, if someone attacked a friend of mine who'd been raped or whatever, my knee-jerk reaction would be I'd want to hit them, you know, and I probably wouldn't hold back on telling them that. whereas I don't think this is quite the same sort of amount of provocation. That doesn't make it right. I get what you mean. It's not right. I mean, I'd like to punch Thunderfoot in the fucking face. I mean, who wouldn't? But I mean, when I say I would like to, that doesn't mean I'm going to. I wouldn't do it. But yeah, I don't mind admitting that I have violent urges. I just like to think I can keep control of them. Anyway, let me know what you think, everyone. Have a nice day.